I'm gonna cover the reinstalling the harvester head computer, HHU harvester head unit. I think it's the shortening for it. And I did run into some issues. These rubber mounts were falling around when I unbolted it, and that was not gonna fly for me, because that would drive me crazy if having to wrestle with that. So I removed some of the spacers. Some of them had them already removed. It's like a spacer tube in there. I had sourced some piece of pipe that could be cut to length to make like a spacer that goes all the way through both of the rubbers, and then they were glued in place. And I was also gonna look at making it easier that you don't need to have a tool on the backside if you ever need to unmount this again. I did some test fitting here. My dad had done some welding on this black cover plate here, and also welded some rods onto the bolts that were gonna be used. So that I had still a little bit room with the length of bolts that we had around. Decided to add a little bit extra rubber here under the computer from an old inner tube that was glued in place on this kind of spacer, or it's mainly a holder for a cover for the wiring. Filled up some hydraulic oil because with the wrenching it had lost some oil. Checked for leaks, and I did find now it seems to leak at the pipes that we undid when we had the hydraulic hose from hell. I will not cover, I have already done that, and I'm not gonna do a separate video about it because it was mainly just removing those pipes and changing two more of those blue seals when they had been bent out of the way and snapped back into place with a little bit of force. They had nicked the seals. So if working with the pipes here, it's best to unbolt both ends and not force them out, because then you will end up with a leak. So with the welded bolts on the back, the rubber, all the rubber glued in place, it was ready to start mounting it into position. It was a little fiddly because the bolt is sticking out now and kind of not a lot of room to, so you had to push the bolt back a little to be able to get the mount to line up, but not too bad. A lot easier than having a lot of loose pieces falling around as you try to do this. One of the mounting points was broken, so but I'm not gonna do anything about that now. Just a big washer to give it some level of clamping on here. And since the bolts on the back are not spinning when they are welded to each other, it's easy to tighten up the front end. The bottom mount down here was still a little hard to be able to get a small socket in there, but eventually could get one on there, and it got kind of stuck there and was hard. Missed recording when I was tightening up the hose that's held in place by a clamp on the side of the computer mount. Then it was just a matter of bundling up all the loose wires. What a big rat's nest. I would love to shorten a lot of these wires, but it's not gonna happen this time around. I tried earlier starting up the machine and backing it out because my dad wanted to get access to something inside here. But you cannot move the machine with the harvester head unit removed. I'm sure you can go into some emergency mode and still move it, but not easily. The forwarder I know, or maybe the harvester also can be started and moved if you pull out the display computer, but that doesn't really do anything, I think, for handling the machine. It's other computer boxes. Yeah, and hydro delivers. I found also that one of the hoses for the lubing down in the back under the hydraulic package had come undone or was loose, so, and it was very tight getting access to tightening that back up, and had to have the wrench pretty much standing up and another one for leverage, but took way too long for comfort. I was almost at the point of starting to remove the hydraulic package